In this video, I'm gonna break down the 3 best online dating profiles I've ever seen. Actually, no. The profiles I'm gonna break down are full of mistakes that you're probably making as well, so you're gonna wanna watch. Let's look at them. All right, this guy's first photo, I assume it's his first photo based on the way I got this. You cannot even see his face. That is a major problem. One of the first and most important things someone wants to know when seeing your online dating profile is, what do you look like and are you attractive? In most cases, not all, but in most cases, should be the absolute best photo of your face that's ever been taken in all of human history. Not having your face is a problem. Beyond that, this photo looks very nice and sweet and comfort building. It does not look high value at all. Typically, you want to start with high value in your profile, and then you can have comfort later on once they realize you're attractive and high value. So this first photo is really not what I would have first. It's also not really honestly that good of a photo. The one good thing about it is showing he has a dog, and a lot of girls have dogs and are into that. So that is a positive, but that is probably the only positive about this first photo. Next up, we have his bio, and I'll read it off to you. ISTJ, looking for someone with good values and who can keep up with me on a paddleboard. I enjoy going to the gym, trying new restaurants and activities. Let me know what you do for fun. First of all, having your Myers-Briggs as the first thing probably isn't that important. Certain girls may care. I would guess more guys care about that than girls by far. But at the very least, if you're gonna put it, that should be a footnote. It shouldn't be the first thing on your profile. The first thing should be, I'm awesome, I'm amazing, I'm attractive, I'm high value. By the way, here's my Myers-Briggs. Okay, so that's, if you're leading with that, you're definitely leaning towards comfort very, very heavily. And again, not value. And that actually, as you go through this whole profile, is going to be a theme for sure. It says, looking for someone with good values who can keep up with me on a paddleboard. A little bit of cockiness with a wink. I appreciate that. That's probably the cockiest thing I think in this whole profile. And it's not really that cocky, but it's really, this is all very sweet and very nice, but it's very typical. It's not very polarizing. It's not very attention grabbing. It's a little bit dull, to be honest. I enjoy going to the gym, new restaurants and activities. Let me know what you do for fun. Okay, so listing off your hobbies is something almost everybody does in their profile, and it's really fucking boring and it doesn't do much. And then let me know what you do for fun is just, it's like almost a little too friendly. It's like you're like, it's almost like needy friendly. Like you're like, I'm trying so hard to be nice because I'm worried I won't get a good response and I'm worried you won't like me. Yeah, it's kind of like the kid in like middle school who isn't very popular and they're trying to be so nice to everyone, so hopefully someone will like them. It's just a little bit rapport seeking. Next, we have all these like basic categories and interests, and normally I just gloss these over. I don't think they're that important one way or another, but as I was going over this one with my team, somebody pointed something out, which I think is a really good point to make, so I'm gonna point it out to you as well. They pointed out that he put his star sign, and that he put his political leaning, his star sign, and he put atheist. All of which are things that are much less likely to help you than to hurt you. Right? Your star sign, if the girl's looking for you to be a match, there's a few that are a match and a bunch that aren't a match, at least statistically, if the girl's actually being legitimate about it. The political party thing, you are excluding half the girls if they care about that, based on that. And the ones that do agree with you, they're not gonna be like, oh my God, he's, you know, my political party, so I have to like him. That's not gonna be enough to get them attracted and get them off the fence in your positive direction, but it might be enough to be a deal breaker for some girls, so I wouldn't include it. And atheist as well, I probably just wouldn't include it, because there's a lot of girls that are a little bit religious and wouldn't care much if you're not religious, but if they outright see it, it might be enough to make a deal breaker for them. Also, by the way, a lot of people that are just not religious, they don't flat out say they're atheist. They just are like, oh, I'm not particularly religious, or I'm not particularly into it. So again, it's just the wrong kind of polarizer. This next photo is not awful, but it's really not that good. It's just pretty boring and it's unprofessional looking. All his photos are not professional photos. They look very much like they were taken by an amateur of some kind. So this one is off center, off to the side, which looks weird. You almost have to like turn your phone to view it, which is not a good sign. He looks facially fine. In general, his fashion and hairstyle could use some work throughout all of this profile. He could do a lot by just getting some slightly better clothes and styling his hair just a little bit. That would go a really long way for him. His clothes here are okay, but they're pretty just basic and boring. He looks kind of like a high school kid. The clothes here fit well, but they're pretty boring. His watch looks like just a very practical watch, like a kind of like, you know, not a high-end, fashionable, cool, stylish watch, just a like, I need to tell time watch, which you don't even need to do anymore because we have cell phones. But he just looks kind of a little bit nerdy, to be honest. He looks relatively attractive facially here, actually, but he just looks nerdy and not very stylish. Okay, next prompt. What's your dream vacation? Asking the girl a question as a prompt is a huge waste of a prompt. You get a few opportunities in online dating profile to convey your personality. You get your profile and you get your prompts, and there's just a few of them, and those are gold. You want to make the most of them. Asking a boring get to know you question like this out of a prompt is such a huge waste. You could do so much better. Also, this question is sort of trying to get into her world rather than bring her into your world. In general, you should be the high value, attractive, cool person that she wants to get to know and she wants to be part of your life, not the other way around. Okay, this next photo is actively not good. He looks kind of extra pale, just like his shirt and skin tone kind of almost match in a way. They mesh in and don't look good. He's poorly lit in general. He's way too smiley. He looks extra nerdy. There's nothing really interesting or positive being added by this photo. There's just no point in it. Also, he has a friend with him that looks kind of nervous to be in the photo. I don't know what's going on there. It just doesn't really add anything, and it doesn't make him look as attractive, right? You're gonna be judged attractiveness-wise on your worst photo, and this photo is worse than the previous one, and kind of worse than the one where you can't see his face potentially as well. Next photo, again, we have a photo with a dog, which is a positive thing, but it's a different dog now, so it almost makes you wonder if he actually does own these dogs or not. Maybe he owns 2 dogs, I don't know. Or maybe he works at like a shelter, just posed with dogs, I don't know. But it is interesting. The fact is with a dog is good for the same reason as the first one being good with a dog, but you don't need to say that twice, right? If the girl's into dogs, you having one picture with a dog does its job. That's all you need. Beyond that, he again looks extra smiley, a little bit nerdy in this photo. And actually in this photo, because of his seated position, it kind of makes him look like he had a little bit of a belly. He's actually not, I don't think, in particularly bad shape, but the positioning of this photo makes it look like he has a belly, whereas in other photos that doesn't necessarily look like it's the case. So again, this is making him look physically worse than he would have if he hadn't included it. So this next photo, looking nerdy, not really adding much. Facially, he wouldn't look super bad, except for the angle is we're looking like straight up his nose and mouth, which is a very unflattering angle, so this isn't helping him either. And his final photo, I actually like a certain element of it. I like the fact that he's casual in a t-shirt, and I like that he has a hat, which shows a little bit of personality, a little bit of some kind of style, and not just nerdy. But I don't like his facial expression. I wish he looked like he was happy or edgy or something. He kind of looks like just, I don't know. It's just like a very like, I'm kind of staring into space kind of a look. And that's not doing any favors. The actual style in this one is better than some of the others, and he does look facially good in terms of the genetics of his face, but the expression is not doing him any good, so he should work on potentially learning to pose better. So overall for this guy, your prompts should be more interesting and more edgy, take more risks, convey your personality a bit more, get your photos taken professionally, work on your posing, and try to work on your style and your haircut a little bit as well. A little bit of effort there would go a really, really long way. You are genetically okay looking, like you're a decent looking guy, but you're not helping yourself with the fashion and style at all. Okay, next profile. In this case, it's bio first, so let's read it off. He says, why travel? I've always liked to connect with new tongues. Read the first phase in my bio 3+ times and still lost, swipe left. Got confused by the second phrase? Left is the side from where you started reading. That's actually kind of funny. You probably think I'm cocky, and you're right, but you should know that it evolved naturally. I like to plan the important things in life, but I also enjoy the moment. Speaking of which, yes, my name is really his name. I feel like giving a fake name to my ONSs, like one night stands, makes for an awkward second date. All right, so there is a lot going on in this profile. I can see what he's trying to do, and he's definitely, I think, trying to be edgy and trying not to be boring, which I commend. It's a good idea to be trying that, but I think the execution here is really, really missing the mark. So let's go bit by bit. This first bit, why travel? I've always liked to connect with new tongues. I think he's trying to say I travel a lot without saying I travel a lot. He's trying to be subtle about it. And then this, I've always liked to connect with new tongues. I think he's trying to make like a sexual entente, to be honest. He's like something about tongues or kissing or something like that, right? Because otherwise he could say like learn new languages or this or that or the other. So I think he's trying to make some kind of a sexual entente. He's trying to be edgy there, but I don't think it quite makes sense. I think it's just confusing, to be honest. Like, again, I like that he's trying something, but I don't think it quite comes off. The next bit, read the first phase of my bio 3+ times and still lost, swipe left. Well, I guess I should swipe left because I was confused. Like, I was legitimately confused the first time, or the first few times that I read this. And here's the thing, trying to confuse a girl into being attracted to you is not a good strategy. Your bio needs to be clear. It shouldn't be like it's generally edgy and she'll figure it out. It needs to be clear what's going on. If she's confused, if she's lost, she's probably just gonna swipe left. Okay, this third part's actually kind of funny, which I mentioned. Got confused by the second phrase, left is the side from where you started reading. That's actually pretty funny. That's actually kind of clever. That's actually a good line. I don't mind that. It's just the problem is that the stuff leading up to it wasn't very good. And so you didn't really earn it. It's like if you're a stand-up comedian, if you've told some good jokes and the audience likes you, you get some leeway to tell some more edgy jokes or do some other things. Here, his first bits didn't really earn a lot of social capital, so they may not have even gotten to the third one, and they may not quite find it as funny as if his first 2 bits were good. But this little bit, I do like. This segment, I think, is actually good. It's ironic. It's kind of funny, and it is edgy in the right way rather than the wrong way. Next line, you probably think I'm cocky, and you're right, but you should know that it evolved naturally. This is a great frame. The idea of, yes, I'm cocky, but I've earned it, or yes, I'm cocky, but I'm not trying to be cocky, it's just how I am. It's a good frame. It would be nice if it was said more subtle. Basically, he's trying to put it in your face that he's cocky and that it just happened. The problem is this line didn't just happen. The line kind of falls like a ton of bricks. So this idea is good, this frame is good, but he should really be more subtle about it. Especially the second part about it, but you should know that it evolved naturally. There's probably a better phrasing of that. That would kind of make this line come off. If what he was trying for earlier on in the profile, trying to be edgy, had worked, which I don't think it quite did, like if the first part had been good, then he would have earned by this point, he has value, now he can start adding comfort. And that's what he does in this last bit. So strategically, what he's trying to do makes sense if the other part had worked. But let's look at how he goes about building comfort. I like to plan the important things in life, but I also enjoy the moment. That's fine, it's a little cliche, but it's fine. So speaking of which, yes, my name really is his name, which you obviously don't know his name because we blurred it out, but it's not a particularly strange name. It's not such an unusual name that would really make sense to add. And I think he really only puts that in order to have this next joke, which I really hate. He says, I feel like giving a fake name to my ONSs. Using an abbreviation or an acronym for one night stand is the most playerish, gamey, like I learned pickup online thing you could possibly do. I hate it. Having an acronym for that, hate it. Also, just mentioning the idea of having a bunch of one night stands and categorizing in that way is very sort of almost dehumanizing to women, or it makes it seem very like you're in game with an outcome rather than a human connection, which is a really terrible frame. So I really, really hate this part. This said makes for an awkward second date. That's actually kind of funny as an outgrowth of, forgetting the name of your one night stand or whatever. But first of all, if you have a second date, it's not a one night stand, but just it's too playerish, right? The last line could work if the first line had worked, but the first line is really, really bad. Okay, so overall, based on this guy's bio, he's trying a lot of the right things. He's trying to be polarizing, he's trying to be edgy, he's trying to be cocky, but it's too try hard. It needs to look like it just happened. It needs to look like you happen to be cocky and she's just kind of experiencing it by accident, not like I'm trying to shove it in your face how cocky I am and how much of an asshole I am. A good kind of criteria is you shouldn't go out of your way to be an asshole, you just shouldn't go out of your way not to. Your profile should not be outright insulting, and you definitely should not talk about game in game, and you should not seem in any way sort of misogynistic or negative towards women. Next, let's look at his photos. Clearly, whoever took these photos knows at least a little bit about cameras and photography. They're decently taken as far as that goes, but they're not particularly well posed, both in terms of his physical positioning and also his facial positioning. And also his fashion could really be a lot better. So let's get into that in more detail. So this first photo, he's kind of far away, he's kind of looking off in the distance. He looks kind of like mildly pissed off, right? Typically high value people are happy and relaxed. He looks a little bit tense in it. And then he's wearing decent enough kind of clothing, like the pea coat is relatively fashionable, but the jeans don't appear to fit all that well. The shoes don't appear to be particularly fashionable from at least distance, that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of okay. There's also not a lot high value here. It's just him walking on the street. Okay, the next photo. So in this photo, he looks actually physically, facially good, but he still has that kind of bemused, pissed off kind of look, which isn't the greatest. And there's not really a lot going on here in terms of indicators of value or indicators of lifestyle. It's just a picture of him without a whole lot super special going on. And his fashion's okay, but again, it's just kind of okay. Final photo. First note, he's wearing the same jacket again, so it does look very much like these were taken in the same shoot, or like he doesn't have that many clothes. That's kind of a no-no. When you take your online photos, you want to try and get them in different outfits so you're not repeating the same clothes. In this case, it's the same jacket, but the undershirt looks kind of less good under it. And again, here he's looking away from the camera, and again, he looks kind of bored. The fact that he looks kind of bored to possibly slightly pissed off in all of his photos kind of makes it look like he might either be boring or not fun on a date. I'm not a huge fan of like being too smiley for sure, but there are a lot of other, you can be kind of a smirk, you can be kind of edgy, you can look relaxed. There's a lot of other things you can do besides bored and pissed off. Practicing posing in a mirror would be a really, really good thing for this guy to do. By the way, beyond just him posing better for the photos, whoever takes the photos of him could also direct him to stand certain ways, lean his head certain ways. They could get better photos that way also. By the way, if you like these profile breakdowns, I have a ton more in my program, Online Dating Academy, as well as my own profiles, my own texts, and breakdowns of texts as well. Final profile we're gonna break down. Let's have a look. His first photo is actually kind of interesting. He does look kind of rugged, attractive, edgy, so I actually kind of like it. I do have some concern about his first photo being black and white, simply because your first photo should grab attention, and black and white just probably doesn't grab attention as much as a color photo. But you could certainly test this. You could test the black and white, test the color, and see which one works better. So it's worth testing, and it does look good in black and white, so I'm not completely opposed to it, but I'd certainly test it in color just to see if you get a better result with it. First prompt, typical Sunday, thinking about starting gym from Monday. So he's trying to be kind of like ironic and don't give a shit and relatable, and all of that's kind of good. But on the other hand, girls do like ambitious guys, girls do like guys who take action, and girls do like guys who are fit. So he is kind of, he's sacrificing one form of value to try and convey a different form of value. Ideally, because these prompts, you have so few of them, and you have all the time in the world to make them good, it'd be nice if they're just all the way good instead of like good in this way and bad in this other way. So I get these trying to be ironic, I get these trying to be sort of like the attractive, slacker, relatable, whatever, and there's some value in that for sure. But at the same time, maybe pick some things that aren't so central to what a girl actually wants, because ambition is huge, fitness is huge, right? So that might not be the things I'd throw under the bus to make that point. This next photo I actually like quite a bit. It looks fashionable-ish, but also low-key and not try-hard. His hair looks really good in it. He's on a beach. He looks relaxed. He, for some reason, has 2 drinks in front of him, which is maybe concerning, but also kind of fine. It could obviously be someone else's drink, whatever. But he does look cool, and he has sort of a look that I've seen in people that are fairly affluent. Like the way his hair looks, the way he's kind of like in a low-key casual t-shirt, but looking a certain way. He looks good in this photo. This is actually a pretty good photo. This next photo is not a good photo. Here, he does not look physically attractive at all compared to his other 2 photos. In his first 2 photos, he looked really physically attractive. The first one was like rugged. The second one was kind of like rich and devil-may care. This one, I don't know if it's the angle. I don't know. He just does not look facially good in this photo compared to the others, and you're going to be judged on your worst photo. So I would absolutely get rid of this for that reason. The idea of a photo on a boat is fine and does convey some lifestyle, but the most important thing, more important than almost everything in an online profile, is do you look physically good? So make that priority 1, 2, and 3, and then everything else can come later. Next prompt, my greatest strength. I'm polite and rarely late. I think he's again trying to be kind of ironic or say, I don't give a fuck, I'm not gonna try hard to impress you or something like that. But again, your prompts are like gold. Make the most of them. You're just not doing enough with this one. And if it literally was your greatest strength that you're polite and rarely late, that would be a really, really sad comment on you. So if it's taken literally, this looks really bad. If it's taken kind of in the ironic way that you probably intends it to be taken, you maybe get a little bit of mileage out of it, but you don't do nearly enough with it. Also, this is the same message as in his first prompt. You want to come off as a 3-dimensional person with a lot of different characteristics, as opposed to a 1-dimensional person just hammering on the same thing over and over again. So the first prompt was, I kind of don't care. This one's kind of, I don't care. One or the other of them could be replaced and you'd still have that in your profile. Okay, this photo I do not like. First of all, he's wearing the same shirt as he did in one of his other photos, and I mentioned this in one of the other guys' profiles. It just makes it look like either you got these taken specifically for online dating or you don't have a lot of clothes, which isn't good. Also, he has great hair in his other photos, and this one his hair is kind of like not very good. He doesn't look facially as attractive, and he's just like eating a salad. There's nothing really special going on. So this photo takes things away and doesn't really add anything back. It's a pointless photo and it's a net negative. You should get rid of it. Okay, next prompt. We get along if you're a fan of sobriety, abstinence, traditional values, and sarcasm. This prompt is actually pretty good. It made me chuckle a little bit, right? It's ironic, sarcastic in the right kind of way, has a little joke in it, etc. My only issue with this prompt is that it comes at the end of his profile instead of sort of more towards the beginning. Again, you want to be high value and polarizing and catch their attention early on and be nice later on. So his other prompts are more boring. They should come later. This one should probably go earlier. I probably wouldn't make this the first prompt, but this is a very good second prompt in a lot of profiles. It's a nice little ironic, conveying some personality, but also being a little irreverent. But this one's actually a pretty good prompt. I do like this prompt in a vacuum. Next photo is absolutely fine and good. He's playing golf, which is potentially a hobby of his, and it's also kind of an upper class hobby. It conveys some amount of status. He's relatively well dressed in it. It doesn't look like he's taking it too seriously. He's not in like the lame golfer outfit, like he's just in a driving range for fun or something like that. But yeah, he looks fashionable, he looks good, he's doing a sport. I'm absolutely fine with this photo. I think it's a pretty good one. Not as a early photo, I wouldn't have this as the first photo in my profile, but later on like it is, it's totally good and totally fine. And this last one is also okay. He's looking relatively fashionable, looking relatively good, looking relaxed. There's nothing really wrong with this. I'm fine with this photo also. It's not, incredibly baller. It's not the most attractive photo I've ever seen, but it's absolutely good enough. So to sum up this last guy's profile, he has some photos that are very good and some that are really doing him no favors. He should definitely replace those and bring up the general standard. You're going to be judged on your worst photos, so get rid of your worst photos and replace him with some better ones. In terms of the prompts, he has a nice sort of irreverent, sarcastic, I don't give a fuck vibe, but that's basically it. He's hammered on this one characteristic 3 times, once pretty well and twice kind of less well, but he needs to round out his personality. He needs to be more of a 3-dimensional person so that he can really attract a girl. He also should lead with more of the sort of cocky, polarizing stuff early on, and if he has more boring or more connected prompts, those should go later on. Overall, this guy comes off as relatively high value and definitely physically attractive, but it would be nice if he conveyed some positive qualities about himself other than just his lack of caring, right? That can't be your entire reason for being a good choice for the girl, although it can be a factor. So I hope you enjoyed that, and the mistakes these guys are making in their profiles and the things they're doing well are both very, very common. So look at your own profiles, make the necessary changes, and go get more matches.